Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. Today, we're once again visiting Reddit/tifu, or Today I Fudged Up, for some truly embarrassing stories of people who made some boneheaded mistakes. Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments, as well as any suggestions you might have that we may just use in a future installment. Brace yourselves for some epic fudge-ups, because we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, Today I Fudged Up by Insulting the One-Legged Girl I'm Interested in. So in these corona times, I'm bored out of my mind, so I downloaded a dating app. I find a girl I'm really into, and we connect on many things. She loves Star Wars, some games, and she even likes football, although she completely chose the wrong team to support. Anyhow, I'm a bit wary she might be a catfish because she's hot as hell, at least a 10, maybe more, while I'm a 5 on my best days. There are a lot of catfish on the site, so I ask her for a picture of her. She's understanding and we exchange some pics. Nothing special. On one of the pics, I spot a prosthetic leg. Well, shit. She's probably a bit insecure about the whole thing, so I decide I must tell her I noticed but don't care about it. Yeah, I think most of you probably think I'm an idiot already, but don't put the popcorn away just yet. It's about to get worse. I haven't mentioned the prosthetic yet, but I'm looking for an opportunity. We're just throwing cheesy pickup lines at each other, as if it's something we've been doing for a couple of days now. I ask if she's ever been jailed for stealing hearts. She responds to that with a, "Do you think I'm a thief?" To which I respond, "I was thinking more about a pirate." I haven't heard a response in 10 minutes. TLDR, I called the one-legged beautiful smart girl I've been chatting with for days a pirate. Update, it might actually be fine. She got the joke and planned to get back at me by not responding for a while. I think I like her a bit more now. That's gotta be more than a little embarrassing. Good thing she seems to have thick skin and a good sense of humor, but that was a cute little love story, nonetheless. Moving on, our next story is called Today I Fudged Up by Accidentally Getting My 66-year-old Mother High. So I, 29 male, work at a smoke shop, so it's a safe assumption I smoke weed. This will be relevant in a second. I also live with my 66-year-old mother and take care of her because my father left at an early age, and when we moved to Florida, her family disowned her for refusing to join the Church of Scientology. I'll pause and allow you to process that. Anyway, my mom put up with a considerable amount of delinquency from me growing up, and it has somewhat dulled her sense of disappointment in raising a 29-year-old convict who works in a smoke shop. She may not agree with everything I do, but she is supportive and loving, even if she doesn't understand me. One of the things we have always shared was our love of cooking. Spending time in the kitchen with my mom has always been a way for us to connect. She strongly dislikes that I smoke, but she tolerates it. We have made edibles together in the kitchen as a way for her to relate and us spend time together. It's always enjoyable, and she gets excited with me when I have a new recipe, even if she doesn't like the fact that it will probably get you high for 2 days. So, yesterday I bought a magic butter machine, as well as a quarter pound of mid-grade cannabis, and I was super excited to make my first batch of tinctures. That said, I only used an ounce of bud for 2 cups of 190 proof grain alcohol. Still, a lot for a 66-year-old woman who hasn't smoked weed since the 70s. My mother was naturally excited for this latest culinary cannabis experiment and wanted to be a part of it. Unfortunately, the machine makes everything very simple and easy, so there wasn't much to do. After decarbing the bud and measuring the correct amounts, it was set to run for 8 hours and good to go. I decided to run it while I was at work, figuring it would be done by the time I got home. Here's where I fudged up. My mother, in her naive innocence, wanted to help and monitor the process. My dumbass didn't tell her to leave it well enough alone. For those of you who don't know, one of the recipes for a tincture calls for grain alcohol and heat. So my mother decided to check on my project while I was at work, took the lid off, and got a face full of 190 proof heated alcohol-infused cannabis fumes. She called me at work, so stoned she couldn't talk, and I had to talk her into her bed. That was at 5 p.m. in the evening. It's 5 a.m. and she's still stoned, munching away, trying to collect her thoughts in between fits of giggles, and berating me for getting her baked when she has shit to do today. TLDR, today I fudged up by not warning my 66-year-old mother to leave my edible project alone and accidentally got her stoned for the foreseeable future, according to her. Oh no. I totally saw that one coming, but it's still pretty crazy. It's nice that you and your mother have found something that you can do together, but you totally should have given her some kind of warning. Hopefully she's okay, and maybe you can make it up to her by taking her out to breakfast and getting rid of her case of the munchies. Moving on, our next story is titled, Today, I fudged up by calling a client Karen on the recorded line. For some background, I work in the banking industry and am currently supporting the client outreach calls for paycheck protection loans. At this point, we have a lot of approvals from the SBA, but people need to actually accept the offer so they can get their money. I usually work in a role that doesn't face clients at all, so my soft skills are pretty rough around the edges. I call the client. Let's say her name is Kelly. Fast forward through the introduction, she is very upset her loan was approved for $7,500 when the requested amount was $10,000. To give you some perspective, some clients are being offered less than $2,000 with an original request of $20,000. I have no control over the calculation that is done by underwriting and based on the U.S. Treasury guidelines for the program.
What do you mean I was only approved for $7,500? Am I being punked? I need to speak with your manager.
Ma'am, I do not have access to your specific record. I am only calling to inform you there has been an approval provided by the SBA, and there is a limited time for us to deposit the money.
This is a disgrace! How is that supposed to help my business? I'm going to lose everything because of your company. I sent in all of my paperwork, and my accountant said I should get $10,000. I can't believe this.
Miss Kelly, please understand I want to help you in gaining access to as much funding as possible. But at this point, the option is to accept the offer as it was approved by the SBA based on your application and the supporting documents you submit. You do not have to accept the offer if
You are not listening to me! I demand to speak with your supervisor right now! I have almost $2 million on deposit with you, and I will take every penny out and close my bank and investment accounts if you do not put a supervisor on the line in 5, 4, 3...
Are you kidding me right now, Karen? I told you I do not have access.
What did you just call me? You called me Karen! That's like the N-word! I can't believe this! I'm not even white! How dare you! I will be contacting your CEO, you racist bastard!
Click. It was an honest mistake. I must have subconsciously called her Karen because of how she was acting. But honestly, her name was another K name, and it was a mistake. I'm very frightful she will get the recorded call pulled, and I'm hopeful my managers understand I didn't try to call her Karen as an insult, even though it definitely came across that way. TLDR, I called an upset client Karen by mistake on a recorded line, and now she is going to escalate the call to our CEO. I quite possibly can be in a lot of trouble if this call is pulled, because my tone wasn't the nicest, and it definitely comes off as an insult, even though it was an honest mistake. While it really sounds like she was acting like a Karen, you definitely fudged up by name-dropping her behavior like that. I certainly hope you don't lose your job, but Karen is not another N-word. It's a proven and descriptive word for irrational people who needlessly instigate and escalate things, presumably because their lives would be uneventful otherwise. Moving on, our next story is called... Today, I fudged up by saying Jesus Christ at the dinner table. I've ruined my life, actually. I've fudged up big time. I live, or should I say lived, with my mother and stepdad. They are extremely religious. Some backstory. My mother and stepfather met years ago when I was younger. I've always hated my stepdad. He's a cold-hearted, angry man. He was in the military for 25 years, if that gives a bit of context. The last 6 months, we haven't spoken a single word between each other. It's been tense, to say the least. Tonight, I broke that silence. We were eating dinner and I was 2 bites into my cheeseburger. My stepdad starts talking about my sick grandfather. He said outright, "He's going to bite it," implying very clearly he was going to die. I immediately lost my temper. My grandparents have been the only people consistently in my life and have supported me throughout it. I love them more than anything. I immediately said, "Jesus Christ, why the fuck would you say that?" And I stood up as to walk to my room. He yelled, "Take a hike." So I opted for the rear door instead of my room. I walked out barefoot, in shorts and a t-shirt into a torrential rain. I was immediately concerned of my phone, so I left it under our awning. I walked down the street and waited 45 minutes before going to the bathroom to take a shower. I didn't talk to anyone when I got home. Went directly to the bathroom, which is upstairs near my room. I take a 6 or so minute shower, which was met with violent banging on the door, and my stepdad screaming for me to get my phone downstairs. As punishment, I put on a towel and walked out of the bathroom. At that point, I was met with an extremely angry stepdad who was puffing at his chest, trying to intimidate me. I kept my head low and didn't acknowledge his existence while obeying. As I trudged back up the steps, he was still there. At this point, I was walking straight to my room, ignoring his insults and harassment. That was until he shoved me into the wall. He shoved me without warning into the corner of the wall. My guess is he couldn't take how he wasn't getting a response and therefore attempted a new method. I began yelling, "If you put your hands on me, I'm calling the fucking cops, and back the away from me." Then he shoved me again, down 4 or 5 steps. I caught myself on the railing and went for the phone I had already put upstairs. I dialed 911 and walked into the front lawn still in my towel. Police response time was amazing, maybe 3 minutes. They took my side of the story and then let me inside to change while they talked to my intoxicated parents. They sobered up quick, knowing I'd actually called the police for the first time. I told the cops all I wanted was to stay at a friend's house tonight. I didn't want to press charges, just to leave. They filed a report and took pictures of all the marks left, so I went to stay with a friend. It doesn't end there, though. This is the worst part. I received a text a few hours ago that I'm being kicked out of my house. They are transferring custody to my bio father, whom I haven't seen nor talked to in almost 3 years. They won't sign an emancipation form. I'm being moved to a state in which I don't know anyone. I'm losing my job, my girlfriend, my friends, my school, my automotive scholarship, and my life. Not only was that not enough for them, they are taking my car I paid in full $1,800 for because it's titled in their name, as I couldn't have it in mine. Now I'm looking for a place to stay for a few nights. I have no hope this will work out anymore. F*** my life. TLDR, I'm being kicked out of my house after saying Jesus Christ, and filed a police report after my stepdad shoved me into a wall. Damn. That is a sad situation to be caught in the middle of. He was being so insensitive about the family who have actually been there for you throughout your life, and I don't blame you for wanting him to be more respectful when speaking about them. If I were pushed against a wall and shoved down the stairs by a jerk like him, I totally would have filed charges, just so he couldn't think that kind of abusive crap is something he can get away with. But you tried to take the high road and just get out of the situation, and I respect that and hope your situation gets better and that you don't have to move away from your friends, school, and girlfriend. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in with me, Jesse. What did you think of these stories? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. I hope each and every one of you has a great day ahead. Try and think things through before you do something stupid. But we're all human, so sometimes there's no avoiding a tifu moment. I'll catch you in the next one.